Hello.
Hi, is Benji there?
Hey, this is Sam, man. How's it going?
Hey, Benji. How are you?
I'm good, man. This is Jimmy, right?
Yeah, from Gears. How are you?
All right. This is a long day, man. Long day. Oh.
I got you, man. you good to do this, or do we need
Yeah,
to
oh,
do
yeah,
it?
I'm great. I'm great. No, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
All right, so this is Benji Womack with Pitkives doing an interview with Jimmy of the band Gears. Can you please discuss the origin of the band's name? You know, I almost thought I had it figured out when I was doing my research, and then I had to take a look at that, and it didn't make sense because if that would have been the case, y'all would have had a different band name at the time because I had read something about your gear burning up. So I was thinking gears.
Yeah. No. What? I'm sorry. What was the question?
The band name. Where is it? Where'd you guys come up with the band name from?
Oh, it was just from. We wanted a strong name when we started it. You know what I mean? Something, not a prepositional phrase. Like most other bands that come out today. So I was always a big fan of one word names, and it's just a strong name,
Yeah.
and it kind of means, a machine, all the gears have to be working together, for it to work properly, so it's kind of like the type of thing where, everybody kind of needs to do their thing and do it well in order for the whole band to move forward and succeed.
I know that's crazy. Then it's kind of ironic, man. That your gear got caught on fire, man.
Yeah.
Man, so tell me about that, man. What happened with that?
Well, we had done, it was like the fourth date of our first run of dates. We played a couple shows in Florida. We were on our way up to Jersey or somewhere like that. And we were coming out of Georgia, and we just, we had an accident with an 18-wheeler, and it was it's kind of in litigation right now, so I can't talk about all the details of it. But yeah, I mean, they totaled the van that we were traveling in, and all the gear, some of it got pretty messed up. Luckily, we were able to replace most of that stuff, but the big thing was our merch and CDs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty much all destroyed and covered in oil and machine stuff, and it was just crazy.
That's never a fun experience, man.
No, definitely wasn't.
Face Down. Okay, so I was reading about the song, man. You guys, your description of the song, what it meant, and it is kind of crazy, man. Because I work with people like this every day, man. Every day. I don't think I've met too many people in my life that didn't fit that description of that song, man. To be honest with you, pretty powerful song, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, social media is just, it's just very cool as a tool, you know what I mean? And so it helps bands and anybody with a business, I guess, really, get, maximize their exposure and their reach. It's also a good thing to keep in touch with, old friends, new friends, all that kind of stuff. But, sometimes it takes, it's taken a little too seriously, and me personally, I'm not a huge fan of the social media thing. You're not going to see a picture of every meal that I eat or every argument that I have. And, I mean, I love pictures of dogs and cats and, families and kids and stuff like that. But, it's too many times I feel like it's a pedestal for a soapbox for people to jump up on and, express their opinions, which I think is cool. It's cool that everybody has a soundboard now, but
I like posting controversial stuff, man, just to get people riled up, man, on there, and they just go to town and argue about stuff all day. It's crazy.
Oh well, sure. I mean, that's always fun. You know what I mean? Well, basically, with Face Down, it's just don't the way people portray themselves is one way, and then there they are, and they fall from grace. And, you kind of feel bad sometimes for people because it's like, wow, he's going to regret that in about 6 hours. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, man. I mean, the song, man, the song itself, man, just the the songs in general, man. It's like, when I listen to this, y'all's music, man, I was like, you guys sound like a band that's like, you know, worked together, for a very long time. Even this is a new lineup for you guys, man. I mean, you guys really clicked on this, man. And the next question was about the Rockfield Radio thing, man. The Trial by Fire versus Alley's Way, man. How'd that come about?
Well, this is actually the fourth one. With Rockfile, you do 4 different ones if you win. If you keep winning, and it's been really great for the band because I mean I would have never ever thought. I mean the first one we did was against our friends in Another Lost Year. I mean we toured with them last year, and I recently just saw those guys, and it was like 2 days after I saw them. It came up, and I was like, oh, man, this is kind of crazy. And then so I didn't even think we had a chance of winning at that one because they're always so good with social media, and then we ended up winning it. And then the next one was Red Sun Rising, and it was like, oh, we got no shot against these guys because they're like best new artists for 2015. And then we won that one. And then, then Trapped came. And same thing. I was like, Trap has been around since like the late '90s. They got to have like a billion fans.
You guys are smoking out Lee's way already, man. Too. I voted for y'all today, man. On there, man. You guys are like way ahead of them already.
Yeah, that's what my chick said. She's like, she's like, I just voted for you, and I'm like, thanks. It's good perks of having a chick, And
right.
she's like, hey, you guys are up like 76-24, and I'm like, don't jinx it.
Right. How long is that? Do you know when the end date on that is?
Yeah, Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I think they stopped the voting.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man.
And then if we win, we go on their Wall of Flame, which is it's cool.
Yeah, man.
It's a nice little accolade to throw to the band. Because our first record we didn't do a whole lot of radio marketing. We kind of just went out and did like 80 or 90 tour dates. Maybe 100. Just to see where the band was at, and then build the fan base based on, the players in the band and what bands we had come from before, and this was the first time we actually, did a legit, radio campaign and got a radio promoter and put some, money behind it, and it's good to see, it's good to reap some benefits of it, no matter how, small in the grand scheme of things they are. Every victory is a victory, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because Tom's he's doing the PR for that band too, man. I'm like, both of you guys. So like, it was kind of funny seeing both of y'all on that site, man.
Well, that's what I told him when they announced because a couple days before that we were talking on the phone, and he was really pumped about doing Adelia's Way's new record, and I like that band a lot, and I'd seen him a couple times. And I said, well, when you get to put out those press advance copies of the record, I want to check it out. And he was like, oh, maybe, and then a couple days later, it showed up that we were on a thing. So I sent him a text, and I'm like, what side of the fence are you going to be on, Tom? Yeah, I called him out, and he was like, I hate it when they do this to me. I hate it when they do this to me.
He's awesome, man. Tom's a good guy, man. Man. All right, man. So what's your thought? Because we already started talking about this a little bit, but give me some more thoughts. So what do you think on corporate radio, internet, social media, and the fall of the CD?
I'm sorry, repeat it one more time.
What's your thoughts on corporate radio, the internet, social media, and the fall of the CD?
Well, I mean, there's so many different ways to look at it. Me personally, like, from a fan's point of view, I can see it's the fact that you can go out and pretty much find any record or stream any record of any band, that you like. I think that's cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's, from a fan, you have such access to things that, when we were kids, you went to the store, you bought a tape or a CD, and you listened to it, and, maybe, you heard some of the singles on the radio and everything, but now it's not really that way. So as a fan, even my friends' bands, like, I've gotten records from my friends, like, 3-4 months before it comes out, but the day it comes out, I go and I buy it on iTunes, and then, when I come across it, like, on the road or whatever, we spend a lot of time actually, and, like, if we find record stores, we go check them out. And if I see a hard copy of something from one of my friends' bands or a band that I like, I'll always buy it. I like to have that physical copy.
Right.
Because someday the cloud's going to crash, and I don't want all my music to go with it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, man.
So that's cool. From a band standpoint, it's kind of hard because I was just talking with someone the other day, and I might get some flack for having this kind of opinion, but the music industry is just so turned around now. I mean, it's the only industry where what your title isn't really your job anymore. Like record companies, used to sell records. They don't really sell records anymore. Promoters of shows are supposed to promote shows, and sometimes they don't do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird industry. The state of the industry that we're in right now. But I think that good music and good bands. If you have a good live show, I think that will translate if you just get out there and do it and keep doing it and do it in front of as many people as you can. Social media is a great tool, for as far as marketing. It's the most important business tool for, a band of any level, whether it's, a DIY startup band, to let everybody know that a couple people got together and you're starting a new project, to, the biggest bands out there that have, a billion followers. I think it's definitely a cool thing. I mean, I always say this when I'm asked the question about social media is, how cool would it have been when we were kids if we could send a message to like Tommy Lee or David Bowie or, any band that you looked up to. I mean, I think it's cool that fans can connect on a personal level, that today. I mean, it's kind of surreal if you think about it.
I guess the only thing that personally for myself, man, that social media took away like the physical connection with the bands, like being out on the streets, handing out flyers, the street team part of it. You know what I'm saying? I used to, that was my favorite thing to do, was make flyers for shows, and then going out and handing them out, and going to every shows and handing them out to meeting people. Now it's like I'm always on this computer, man. It don't even seem like I go out and to do that anymore. I make a flyer. I don't even print it. I just I just post it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's such a double-edged sword. It really is. Because I agree with you. I think that personal and connection and building relationships is the most important thing for a band. I think that fans and people that are into a band get into a band because they feel a connection with it. Whether it was, man, I saw the guys from this band, in the bar up the street, and they're hanging out, and I went and bought them a beer and hung out with them, and it was cool. I lived in LA for a lot of years, and it was cool for me being a young kid out there, being able to walk up to the Rainbow and see whoever from a lot of bands, just hanging out, and that's cool.
I did my time in Cali, man. I was in NorCal though. NorCal, so yeah. How long ago was it when you was out there?
I was off and on out there for a lot of years, man. Probably like the span of probably 15 years.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I was in and out a lot. I moved around a lot because depending on what band I was in, I've been in bands from Jersey and Philly, and then I was in bands from Florida and bands.
That's where I'm from originally. Based on
California and all that. So I mean, I kind of go wherever I have to go for the work. But that's what was cool about Gears is, we're technically from Miami, Florida, but we got guys all over the country. Our bass players in California, singers in Florida. I've settled down in Lexington, Kentucky, where it's nice and quiet, and it's.
So none of you guys live in Miami, or just from Miami?
The singer lives in Miami.
Oh.
When we first started the band, our guitar player at the time was also from Miami, and that's kind of where we got together, and we rented a house and built like a little makeshift studio in there, and I got Corey Lowry to come down and stay with us for a couple of weeks and do the first record, and that's kind of where it all started. So I guess that's kind of why we have that sentimental attachment to Miami, and that's the band's home.
How is Kentucky, man? Metal scene, man. Actually, it's funny because Kentucky's been coming up a lot for me lately. Like I just hired two people on my staff that are in different parts of Kentucky, but they haven't been able to really get out and find out what's going on in the music scene out there.
It's funny. I don't really, when I'm here in Kentucky, because traditionally I've spent so much time on the road that when I'm home, I'm kind of home.
Right.
I don't really go out and do much. I just kind of hang out with my chick and kids and my dogs, and and it's just kind of quiet time for me, because when you're on the road, it's go go go. So you're constantly around people, and and as much as I love to be around people when I'm on the road, it's like once I come home and I'm ready to unwind, I'm kind of a little bit of an introvert. I don't really get out much. We went and saw. I hadn't seen my boys in Orgy for. I hadn't seen Jay in probably 5 years, and they came through in Cincinnati, and I'm about an hour away from Cincinnati, and they were playing with my boys in Bogaflex, which I've known them pretty much my entire career. So Stephanie and I, we went up and saw them the other night, and that was cool. But that was probably the first time we've been out in a couple months.
Okay. Okay, both these questions kind of put together, man. Like, this is the other part of the industry that I've been, kind of struggling with it lately, and it's the pay to play shows, venues, events, and buy on tours. What do you think about that?
Sucks.
It's gotten worse, man. I didn't realize.
Man,
yeah, go ahead, man.
The answer, it really, for a DIY band like us, it sucks. It's to get we every tour that we've done, we've gone out with another band or two bands and done it and try to get in front of as many people as you can. But you can only do so much when that entertainment dollar in an economy like this is so sought after. You want to, you got 4 shows coming through in a month, and they're all so expensive. Tickets are so expensive because nobody's buying CDs, so the record companies and the bands, they need to make a living too. So it's, they have to jack up the prices of the T-shirts and the ticket prices and stuff like that. And in doing that, the band, that's headlining, traditionally will look for a buy-on band, or 3 or 4, you know what I mean? And just to kind of cover certain expenses to go out on the road, it's tough, because when you're a band like us that's looking to go to another level, we've kind of done everything we can do on our own as a headliner in clubs. It's now we're trying to get in front of different people, get in front of other bands, following, and maybe they like us, maybe they don't, but it's hard to get that opportunity when to go on band with band A, it's going to cost X amount of dollars, and that X amount of dollars usually has quite a few zeros behind it.
Yeah, man. I just it's crazy, man. It's almost like it's put you right back to the beginning when you first start out, man. As a local band, you're paying these clubs to play, and then you get signed, and you still got to do it.
Yeah, and it's tough because in that design, it goes back to what I was saying. If you're a great band and you have a great live show, you keep doing it and you try and get it out there. But it's not. There's other factors that come into it. You can be a great band, but if you don't have a certain amount of financial backing or a certain financial budget, you can't go out and do some of the things that you want to do as fast as you want to do them. That's why you see all these bands that, are finally getting onto these big tours. You look at them and like, oh, I never heard of this band. Oh, geez, like they've been around since 2006. Like,
exactly.
How did I miss these guys? That's how. It takes so long. And touring is very expensive. You got fuel and feeding your band and your crew, and you got if you rent a vehicle, you're paying a premium at that, and if you own a vehicle, it's inevitable that something's going to happen and break on it. So there's bills there. So that, there's just it's a very easy way, to get out there and go on the road for a month and come back and be in debt by a lot of money. It's you're not talking a couple $100 a guy. You're talking thousands.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, man, I just man, some of these bands that are doing the buy-ons though, man, it doesn't even seem like they're not even they're not even. It doesn't seem like they're even popular enough to have bands be buy on the tour with them. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean some of the prices that are out there, and here's the worst part, you buy onto these bands and maybe, in the contract maybe there's a small guarantee to get you from, point A to point B each night. Maybe there isn't, and then, so you're relying on your merch, and then they say, oh, by the way, we sell our T-shirts for $45, and you're going to have to sell yours for $45 too. It's like, wait a second. So if you're telling me we're getting in front of all these new people, that they go up to the merch tables that are right next to each other, and they can buy this, T-shirt that's made by this band that's world renowned. They've been all over the place, and everybody knows them, and it's a cool T-shirt design. Or I can buy a gear shirt for $45. I mean, like, it's kind of a tall order there.
Right.
It's where's this? So
and what is that? Is that the venue? The venue that's making? No, so the other bands making saying you have to do that.
Well, a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it's
Oh, they're doing that. They want you to do that because they don't want yours to be cheaper, so that people will buy your stuff over their stuff. I got you.
Yeah, if their shirt's $30 and yours is $10. You know what I mean? Chances are, you could get someone from, in the audience to buy your shirt for $10 just because they want to buy a shirt. You know what I mean? So, but I mean,
I love T-shirts. I buy them anyway, man. I spent $3,000 at the damn Carolina Rebellion last year. Just T-shirts, man. I was like puking when I got home. I couldn't believe I did that. Man, all right. So, what's your thoughts on the legalization of marijuana?
Legalization on marijuana. Well, I don't know, man. I guess I'm kind of an extremist, because me personally, like, I don't smoke marijuana. I've never been a big weed guy. I've never really been into it, which is kind of funny because I have dreadlocks and, my singer has dreadlocks and we don't really smoke weed, so I guess it's kind of false advertisement to some people. But let me tell you something. If I could walk into any place in the world, I could walk into the grocery store, and if there's a guy in there that smokes weed, he's going to find me and offer me weed. So it's kind of really funny. But and I'm like, so I don't really care. I don't mind. I think that there's something to be said for, legalizing it. I think that you could tax it. I think that we could make, a lot of revenue that, otherwise wouldn't be made for the country. I think that would be a good way to start. But I mean, I'm one of those guys that, I don't really care. You know what I mean? I do know that if they do legalize marijuana, I'm not sure what anybody who smokes marijuana is ever going to talk about, because I know that that's most of the conversation when people are smoking weed around me. It's, man, they should just legalize it. Right. So I hope they find new stuff to talk about when they do.
I hear you, man. Yeah, that's good. All right, what's your dream tour, man? What was the ultimate lineup, like, before it's all said and done, man? I know you still got to daydream a little bit, man. Like fantasize about a tour.
Man, there's so many bands I think it would be cool to tour with. If we're talking like dead or alive, or are we talking like who's out there now currently touring? Like which?
Yeah, like out there. Yeah, like out there right now. There's something that's still possible to happen. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. No, I think it would be cool to tour with. Man, that's like I should have a better answer to this because a lot of people ask it, but normally it's like dead or alive, and it's like, oh well, Zeppelin and Bowie, of course, that would be the best tour, So I would still say probably David Bowie would be a cool tour, even though the genres really aren't the same. Yeah. You know what I mean? It would be cool to stand side stage and watch that dude get it on for like 2 hours because he does like marathon sets. I think it would have been cool to do a tour with like Motorhead before Lemmy left recently with us. I think that would have been really cool. There's just so few guys out there now. Like, the industry doesn't make legends like that anymore. You know what I mean? Like there's never going to be another Lemmy. There's never going to be another Lane Staley. There's never going to be another, insert, rock god here. There's never going to be another Hendrix. There's never going to be another one. They just don't do it.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. It's been a while since I can't really think of anything that's really, because for a while, when everything went back to like a club-sized show, it was very hard for a metal band to fill an arena. It was only a select handful maybe that could actually pull it off, like Slipknot, System of a Down, stuff like that. Yeah, there ain't really been no bands come out that's just taken over like that again.
No, I mean, and I mean, there's bands out there that are doing it, in a lot grander scales, and there's a huge jump. You got 99% of bands that are doing it on a certain level, and to jump up to that 1%, of rock or metal bands that are doing it, in stadiums, like, for example, Five Finger Death Punch, they're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like even like great bands, like take Seven Dust for example.
Love Seven Dust, yeah.
Seven Dust, their last tour when they were out with Shinedown and Breaking Benjamin. I mean, you don't see, you see that more and more, happening more and more. Like three huge hitting bands going out on tour together. You know what I mean? Like what was the other one this year? It was Five Finger Death Punch and Papa Roach and In This Moment and like all those bands.
Oh yeah,
like,
and the Carolina Rebellion, man. The festivals, they're finally getting these big festivals all over the country now. I'm loving that too. They look like little mini Woodstocks, man.
Oh yeah. I mean that's where it's going, man. Like again, it's that the economy versus the entertainment dollar. You know what I mean? People save up all year to go on like Shiprocked, to see 30 bands, together rather than go to 15 different shows throughout the year.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Carolina Rebellion, it was 2 days last year. It's 3 days this year, man. 3 days long. It's got everybody on it, man. A lot of the bands you just said are on that show, man. Sure.
Yeah, a lot of them, and I mean, it's all the festivals. All the festivals that started out 1 day and then 2 days, and then some of them are 3 days now. I think Rockville is 3 days now. I think Rock on the Range is Rock on the Range.
Yeah, is that the one in Ohio or?
Yeah, Columbus.
Yeah, that's 3 days now too. Yep. Yeah, man.
So, which is cool because if you notice now, I noticed that last year when we went to Louder Than Life in Louisville, and we went there to see. It was Corey's first time I saw Corey with his new band Saint Sonia, and one day, the first day, you see a lot of the modern rock guys and the active rock, the newer bands. And don't get me wrong, I think Godsmack headlined that night and Rob Zombie. And then the next night it was like ZZ Top and like all these cool.
Oh yeah, that was the Carolina Rebellion. At the same kind of lineup. Yeah, that was same shit.
But I think it's kind of cool to see a little separation of genres, and I don't mean this offensively, but seeing like, more of a younger, band setting and then, go and see the Legends play the next night. You know what I mean? I think that's really cool.
Well, they mix it up too, man. It's crazy. Like you saw, I think we saw it was like Cheap Trick played, and then like Marilyn Manson played on right after him. I was like, what? And like this year they got Parkway Drive, man. I love that band, dude. And they got them playing with Leonard Skinner and ZZ Top and a couple other old school bands like that on a Friday night. They're the only like hardcore band that's playing that night. I was like, well, that's kind of wild. And but yeah, it's mixed up. I love it because it kind of like gives you little breaks in between, chill.
Yeah, I mean, plus you do a festival like that, you got a little bit of something for everybody. So you get a wider audience of people coming, which means better ticket sales, and you hope that reflects back in the industry. You know what I mean? I feel like rock is definitely on an upswing with the development, and I think the development of festivals is a big part of it. Because some of these festivals, the places they're doing them, that's like the event of the year. World's Loudest Month. You look at all the places, you're like, what's in Columbus, Ohio? Oh, Rock on the Range is. You know what I mean? Or what's in Jacksonville? Oh, what's in the Rock?
And it gives the bands like Parkway Drive and all the bands that come from those, overseas that are used to playing shows like that, on their entire tour over there. They finally get to come to the States, man, and fucking play like they're playing back home, man, on a festival level. So I think that's pretty cool.
A good example of that is I saw Bring Me the Horizon on one of those festivals from Australia, and it was kind of the first time that I really knew about them being here.
I didn't know they were from Australia.
They're somewhere, yeah, they're from somewhere like that. But it's it was cool to see them, play here because, a lot of times European bands, it seems to me that the European market is, much, doing a lot better for touring, than the United States market.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, because there's so many, bands from here, so it gets kind of, lost in translation or kind of staticked out or, oversaturated because there's always bands coming through or not. Or maybe because, a lot of venues are closing, so maybe not so, I don't know what the big difference is to, these bands, but it's cool to see, these big festivals have all kinds of bands from everywhere.
Yes, I agree, man. I agree. Parkway Drive and Hearts Wake, they're both from Australia. They came out here just a couple months ago, and that was the first time I saw Bring Me the Horizon was with Parkway Drive at the Tabernacle in Atlanta, and there was wasn't that many people there, man. But that was one of the type bands you were talking about, man. I was like, I heard the first Parkway Drive song, and then I was like, looking at it, doing research. They've been out for 6-7 years already, and I missed them, and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all these bands, that are coming up. I mean, it definitely seems like they paid their dues. There's a lot of bands out there that've been doing it for a lot of years, and you're just now hearing about, which is cool. It gives bands like yours hope. Because a lot of us come from other projects that had, their own levels of success. It's hard to go back to square one and start over. And it gets frustrating and it gets, a little discouraging, but. It's like we love playing shows and we like to be, out there and doing it for people and meeting new people, and that's the big attraction for us,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, those couple of questions I asked about the buy-on tours and the pay-to-play venues, those questions, man, those come straight from Tito, man, from St. Diablo. He works with me now, and he wanted me to plug those questions when I asked him.
Yeah. Right on. How's it? Is this interview? Is it like a recorded interview or?
Oh yeah, I'm recording it right now for sure. And when I'm done with it, yeah, man, there's no way I could have recited this one. Yeah, so there would be no way I could. I wouldn't be handwriting it, man, from memory. That's for sure.
Right.
Yeah, man. When we get off the phone and stuff, man, I'll put a little video together, a YouTube video with y'all's, material in the background while everybody's listening to the interview.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if you've been a chance to go to the website yet, but it's called Pitkives.com, and I cover just just not music, man. I mean, I do movies and horror books, horror movies. I cover. We do CD reviews. We cover the legalization of marijuana. We cover that worldwide. Porn stars, UFC fighters. I mean, it's
awesome. You guys are doing pretty much everything in pop culture. That's cool.
Well, pretty much I am. I mean, I got my staff is like it come and goes real quick. I mean, there's a lot of people that come at me, wanting to do this and that, but there's no commitment, man. It's dedication. So I just keep moving on. I'm just kind of until I find the right people that want to be a part of it. I mean, I've been doing this for 20 years, just through different organizations, and just now this is mine, Yeah, man. I got a couple more for you. Oh man. Okay. Okay. This question's kind of dark, man. It's kind of, but it's the last one. I'm gonna end with this one. It's kind of dark, but do you ever find yourself thinking about death more than you did when you were younger? Does the reality of it ever make you ask, why do we do the things we do? And if no, then what's does Jimmy want people to remember about you before that dark day comes?
Oh man, that's a heavy question, man. I guess. I don't know. I've always kind of had a little obsession with like moving on, with death. I don't know if it's just because I've, I know everybody experiences. I feel like I've had a little bit more than normal in my life over, experiences with death and losing loved ones. But I've always said that, I always want to be remembered as, the guy that was, super nice and would do anything for everybody, but kind of the guy that you didn't want to piss off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as thinking about it any more than I did when I was younger, I don't think so. I think I always had a pretty, it was definitely in my head a lot, because it was always, it seemed like it was always happening around me. And especially with, once I started doing, playing music for a living, generally, especially in the early days, it came with a certain, recklessness to it.
Yes,
so, when we were younger, we lost bandmates and, friends and girlfriends and friends of friends. And I think in the music community, because we all, in some way, fight the same battles every day, on different scales, of course.
Yeah.
Everything's relative, but we're all fighting, for our place in the industry. I think that kind of builds a camaraderie between musicians. So when you hear about it, losing a musician, it doesn't matter if they're the biggest rock star in the world. I'll use Scott Weiland, for example. Scott just passing recently.
Mm-hmm.
He's someone that I came across a lot, over the years. One of my really good friends, Tommy, was the bass player, and I really feel for that whole band, especially after losing Jeremy just, not even a year ago. I feel for those guys, and I really feel for Tommy, the way they're dragging his name through the mud, because, not a lot of people know him on a personal level when it gets to a story of that magnitude. And let me tell you something, Tommy is one of the nicest, most caring guys out there. And I've seen him a couple times come through, or, I've been in a city where he's been playing, and Tommy was Tommy. He was just such a sweet, caring, nice guy, and the fact that the press is kind of twisting it around and making him look a certain way is kind of disheartening, because they're making him look a way that I know him personally not to be,
Mm-hmm.
So it's, let's face it, it doesn't, nobody's going to know exactly. There's guys that were on that bus with, the band for, years that they've been together and all that stuff. So I don't really think that we should, we as people or the press should really be, painting it any certain way, because it is what it is. And guess what? We weren't there, so we don't know. You know what I mean?
I know, man. People are assholes, man. In general.
But yeah, and Corey and I were talking about it. We went and saw Santa Sonia and Joliet a couple days after that happened. We were talking about it, and Corey and I just looked at each other and I'm like, man, this is crazy. That happened. But as far as death goes, I guess it's all going to come knocking for us, sooner or later. But I do feel like in the music community, you don't have to be, you don't have to have someone's phone number in your phone to kind of feel it a little more closely than, when the 97-year-old, House of Representatives, guy, passes away. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be best friends with someone to feel a loss because they represent, a certain spot.
I totally agree. There's a couple of musicians, man, that if they when they pass, man, it's going to affect me, and I'm going to feel some type of way over it.
Mm-hmm. Of course, man. Of course.
Man, awesome interview, dude. I appreciate it, man. I'm glad we finally got to do this. Sorry, got pushed back a couple times, but
no, it's all good, man. I appreciate you.
One more last thing. Touring. When are you guys? What's your thing on? When you guys got on tour?
Yeah, we're going to do a little run in February. We have some obligations that from last year. So we're going to do like a few dates. It's not going to be a lot. There's still kind of being worked on. I know February 11th we're going to be in Indianapolis at Fifth Quarter Lounge. February 12th, I can't announce yet. February 13th, we're going to be in Battle Creek with Artifice and Valeside for our friend Bruce's birthday there at the Music Factory. And then there's a couple more dates. And then we're going to take a little break because Trip is having another baby. So he's got a baby coming on in March. And then we're looking to hit it hard in May.
Awesome, man.
Look for middle of May till eternity. That's what the plan is right now.
Guys want to book a show in Georgia, man, like in the Augusta area, man, let me know. I can set that up.
For sure, man. For sure. I might actually be hitting you up on that one for sure.
All right,
or
man.
Agent, one of us.
Cool, man. All right, man. So I will. I got you. You're on my Facebook, so like as soon as this is up and ready to post, man, I'll post a link on your wall, man.
Sounds good, brother. Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Jim.
All right, brother. See ya.